Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Last week, I published my first trading watch list video which got a decent number of views, so I am going to continue this week as well. We talked about 4 different stocks, which was Apple, Google, SOFI, Intel. Those are the 4 stocks that I generally track every single week. However, I'm also going to be adding 2 additional stocks this week that were requested by one of the viewers as well. Out of the 4 stocks I mentioned last week, I took one trade, which was Intel. I took that trade on July 6th and I posted it on Twitter, and that trade is up about 61%. That did expire worthless, so that was 100% profit. By the way, if you want to track all these trades in real time, follow me on Twitter. My Twitter handle is InvestK. I also opened an account on Threads where I will be also posting on a regular basis. Next week, the trading is going to be very interesting because the CPI numbers are coming out on July 12th before the market opens. We are going to get the core inflation numbers. Now, if you remember from last month, we had 5.3% and the forecast is 5%. If it comes in line or better, market could see a rally. And if it gets worse, you could see a similar drawdown in the market like you saw a day before on Thursday. So without further ado, let's dive into all the chart patterns for the upcoming week. All right, let's start off with our first stock, which is Apple. Apple has made an all-time high again at 194.48. Last week, we talked specifically about this gap, and the stock went up ahead and filled that gap up on Thursday itself. Now, the stock is still up for the week. We have had 52% year-to-date performance in positive for Apple. We are seeing a major overextension by the stock. One of the concerns that we have now is the volume is starting to stabilize around the 50 million, from the up all-time highs of around the 120 and 150 million. So the volume seems to be declining. Convergence and divergence on MACD, and this is a bearish signal on the stock. We also have the RSI around the 65, which was pretty overheated for a while now. We had seen these big bumps right over here from Citigroup, and the new price target is about $240 for Apple. So one of the things I really want to talk about with Apple is that with it being an all-time high, from an investment standpoint, if you're dollar cost averaging, I would hold off on dollar cost averaging. I would want to see whether the stock goes up or not, and specifically look at all the macroeconomic conditions. These are the different all-time highs we have seen from Apple. In January 2022, Apple made an all-time high, and when the stock came down, you saw a big drawdown of at least 15%. The stock fell. Now let's take that up to the next all-time high, and when it fell down, it took the stock down almost 28.27%. Let's take it to the August 2022 high, and before the stock could rally, we saw the stock going down as much as about 29%. From the last 3 highs, what it is very clear that if the stock falls from its all-time high, you could see anywhere a drawdown between 15 to 30%. I'm not saying that the stock is going to fall, but this is what the previous chart pattern predicts. So at some point in time, when the stock will pull back, you could see a sharp decline in the stock. Could be 10, could be 15, could be 20%, and that will be driven by the market condition. On the Seeking Alpha, from all the authors and the quant ratings are all hold right now because everybody is getting jittery on Apple's pricing. However, Wall Street still has a buy rating on Apple, so take it what it's worth for. However, be very careful when you are trading Apple. The next stock on the list is Alphabet, ticker symbol GOOGL. Currently, we are getting a bearish signal on Google, price crossing the 30 exponential moving average. This denotes a bearish momentum. Now we would want to see how the stock does in the next couple days, and we will get a confirmation on this pattern. One of the things that is very evident that the stock was not able to break its high from the April of 2022, and it stopped right between the August 2022 high and the April 2022 high. 118 seems like a decent support level because once the stock fell below, it quickly went back over 118, and 122 seems to be the resistance at this point in time. The put to call ratio on it is 0.77, so it's still very bullish. If you look at the Wall Street rating or the Seeking Alpha analysts, everybody has a buy rating, and we have had a pretty decent run with Google, honestly, especially with the AI boom right over here. For next week, I would take a play between 118 and 122. That seems like a range bound play. Breaking this 129 from the last high would be a tough challenge for Google, at least in the next couple of weeks. The next chart on our list is SOFI, ticker symbol SOFI. SOFI has received a hold rating from Wall Street. However, keep in mind that the stock is up 78% year to date. That's no joke. The price target currently from Wall Street is around the average of $8.23. SOFI, we have had this doji candle or spinning top, just reflects an indecision in the market, that the traders are not sure whether the stock should go up or down. They are waiting for other external factors. This is the time when you saw these news about the AI boom. We saw the news about the whole student loan moratorium and all that. It seems like the stock has kind of found its resistance level at 1023, and since then the stock has been on a decline. It tried to push back itself up around that, but this is a big range that we see between 813 and 1023. Could see a drawdown in this range of 794 and 813 in the coming weeks or so. RSI has started trending downwards over here. We are at 5122, so it's no longer in elevated levels. The volume unfortunately has really taken a hit. Volume has dropped down all the way to 22.78 million. Earlier weeks where we could see volume as high as 153. If the volume keeps declining, we could see the stock straggling or sideways barcoding until we see in the next catalyst, which could be around this earning, which is around the 731. Moving on to our next stock, Intel Corporation, ticker symbol INTC. We have been tracking Intel for a while now, and Intel has become a very decent play from a weekly trading perspective. We had these massive bump up in the price. The price went as high as 37.11 in the last few weeks and so on. Since then, the stock has been trying to find its new support level and this new resistance level. There is a bearish pattern that is forming. This is the pennant, which is very bearish. This is the triangle, and we could see the stock heading downwards from here onwards. We also see the price below the 30 EMA, so that is also another confirmation on the bearish trend. However, $30 will be a massive support level for Intel. So if you are going to trade Intel, a good play could be between the $30 and the $34. This particular range, you could see Intel barcoding until the next earnings. Keep in mind that the global semiconductor sales fell 21% year over year. So that could be a bad news, which you can see right over here. One of the news that we missed recently was that Intel and Nvidia went into a partnership. I am going to be doing a separate video on that itself, where we'll talk about a full analysis between Intel, Nvidia and AMD, which is a good stock to own from a semiconductor standpoint. However, I find that all these three stocks are very unique, and as a semiconductor investor, I like to own all three of them because all three are operating with a different model itself. All right, moving on to the next chart, which is AMD, Advanced Micro Devices. We have had a massive run up in AMD because of the recent AI boom, which Nvidia led the market with. What is happening currently is we are seeing slowly that 114 is becoming like the next support level for AMD, and AMD is currently above its 30-day EMA and is below its 20-day moving average. The volume is sharply declining in the last couple trading days, and this is a concerning sign. We also see the RSI around the 49, so it's right smack in the middle between 30 and 70, so that's a good sign. Now if I want to trade AMD next week, I would be looking at around the 30 delta, which would be around the 110, which is 28, so I could expect to gain about a $93-$95 on this trade. If you already have 100 shares of AMD, you can open a covered call, and that I would target a 30 delta would be around 117. That could be one of the plays you could. Now of course you can also play a spread. However, be very careful if you're playing spread specifically on the Wednesday, because the market could move violently either to the upside or downside depending upon the news. The last stock of the day is Square, which is Block, and we took a trade last week on Square. We opened a $62 put and we are up 80%, which so we got about $105 and we already have gained $84. So I may close it depending upon the movement on Monday. Right now this stock has a very positive momentum. First, we got the stock price is over the 21-day moving average and the stock price is above the 200-day moving average. So these are all bullish signs. The stock is even up the 230-day EMA. So all these are very bullish signs. Volume on the other hand is pretty low at about 11 million. So if you remember the SOFI volume, which was close to 150 on its one of the best days and still about 25-26 million. This is only about 11.12 million. You don't see a major volume over here for Square, but this could be another good play for next week where we could close that trade out and open a new trade. I would be targeting around the 65, where I could gain as much as about $68 on this one. Or if I have 100 shares of Square, I would target about the $70 to sell a covered call where I can get about $72. Now we do have a buy rating from the Seeking Alpha analyst as well as the Wall Street analyst, and currently the price target of Square is about $84.30 as the average price target. So you could see an upside of 25% from here onwards. However, looking at the chart right now, I would say the 7160 is going to act as a major resistance for stock until we see an uptrend from here onwards on stock, and we would need some more volume adding over here in stock. Otherwise, I don't see how the Square can break through this resistance of 7060 without additional volume. The next earning will be expected in the next 1 month, so next 4 weeks or so we will get an earnings on Square, and that could push the stock price higher depending upon the outlook. So there you go. Those were the 6 stocks that are on the watch list. If you have any requests that you would want me to cover for next week, throw it in the comment section below and I will make sure I will cover them in the next week's trading watch list. Hopefully you enjoyed this session. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Threads, because you will get the real-time updates on all the trades that I make. I will see you next time, investor family, but don't forget to invest for tomorrow.